hello to office hours. I meant to do this live on Instagram, but for some reason they changed something. And maybe it just fits perfectly to today's topic. Today's topic is going to be, let's be honest. And as you can see, I am in beautiful New York City with Empire State Building behind me. I was just sitting down right across from me and I said, I was like, oh my god, this is a perfect location. So this is where I'm going to do my live. Anywho, it's not live. Either way, here it is. And the topic is, let's be honest. Because there's multiple perspectives I'm going to take this subject in today. There's the subject of let's be honest with ourselves. There's going to be the subject of let's be honest with what we're finding ourselves in. And just this aspect and the challenge of being honest with ourselves. I think that's where we're going to start. It happened literally this week where I just had to be honest that I'm excited that summer break is done. Today is the first day of my son going to middle school, which is super exciting. And already the first wonder that I have is like, did he break the schedule where it says which room, which classes? He did tell me that he memorized all his classes. Well, I did not ask if he memorized the classrooms. Either way, it is too late to change this. So here's my first, let's be honest. It's too late. Can I now worry about it? Not necessarily, because he's got to figure it out. So I just got to let it go. Find out later today when he comes home if it worked out, if he remembered, if he had it. So I'm going to put that to rest. So that's really like the first, let's be honest. But the very first I just touched on was about the other day saying like, oh my god, like this summer break has been really long. Even my son confirmed this morning. He's like, it felt really long this summer. And so, I don't know, good thing, bad thing, that's really what it comes down to. If we're being honest, when we're being honest, it really doesn't matter if we like it or not. It is just a fact, or it's just an experience that we're having. So the other day, I just felt not like in tune with my body. I haven't exercised in a few days. An exercise for me is like going for a walk, moving, doing Zumba sometimes when they have it at the dam where I live. And so it was really to recognize like I need to do that something. Like my body was just not feeling comfortable. So that was my initial being honest. And one thing that I really want to get into is this piece of like being a parent. So if you're watching, you don't have children, you might be able to relate to this in a different way. But either way, the one thing that I'm recognizing, and that also happened in these past few days, where there was this situation where I had to be a parent, and apparently, no pun intended, I wasn't really showing up or demonstrating parental guidance. Either way, life is too short to really ponder around it. The question is, why? What can I do better, right? That's really where honesty comes in, and it really does not matter if I'm being honest with myself, if I'm being honest with a friend, if I'm being honest, period. Because honesty is the only way that will lead us to freedom, inner freedom, relationship freedom, where we can just be ourselves. And that's ultimately the purpose of any of these conversations that are having, any purpose of this mindful being path, because the moment I am being aware, the moment I am being present, the moment that I'm recognizing I'm not perfect and I am making mistakes, the more and the sooner I can find myself, be truly myself. So, and also, not only that, but the more I can recognize this about myself, I start recognizing this in other people, meaning I will have more patience, I will have more understanding, and I can communicate my needs and maybe respond to other people's lack of communication in a way that creates connection. And that's truly what I believe honesty is doing. Because it's not like, and I'm taking parental parts again into perspective, right? One of them is that I want to be honest with my child, because if I can't be honest with my child, what kind of relationship am I building? I'm hiding something, so I don't want to tell every detail. But on a greater scheme of things, right? I was considered crazy a couple times these past few days, and just to own it, because yes, I was crazy, and there are some reasons sometimes to be crazy, and I'm not saying that it's okay, and it just requires some improvement. Anywho, so that's really where this conversation is coming in, and I want to just throw out this first question. What are some things that you are really good at being honest about? Maybe speaking your mind. Maybe if you don't like something, to tell someone how you want to go about it. Or maybe your needs, your boundaries, as some might call it, right? Where you say like, okay, this is how far we can go, and then that's it, right? So that's one of the things. And then the other question is, where could I be more honest? Where are some parts, exactly those same things that I mentioned? Maybe it is towards a person. Maybe we're holding back to tell them how we truly feel because we're worried that they're going to say, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And all the reasons why we're not being honest with one another. And so to really look into where we're holding ourselves back, because everything I want us to experience ultimately is inner freedom. And in my belief, the only way we can discover inner freedom is when we're truthfully honest with ourselves, truthfully honest about when we're feeling uncomfortable in our own skin or with somebody else, when we're feeling uncomfortable, or rather being honest when something just doesn't work for us, when we would rather have it this way or that way, right? For example, recently I found out my husband does not like red peppers in a salad. So if I want us to enjoy a salad together, then maybe I should have put some red peppers in there, right? But we need to have these conversations. We need to say the things, even if it seems like so unimportant, like the red peppers, right? But it will make a difference in how we're experiencing life together. And so looking at it from that perspective, honesty doesn't need to be hurtful. It doesn't need to be like a big thing. It can just be something where we connect with one another, where we just feel like saying something that might feel a little uncomfortable, that might actually, we might think, that's an important one too, right? We might think that the other person might be disappointed, but we don't realize how appreciative people can become when they have honesty with you, right? And so it really is something to consider, that when we have not been honest with people, with friends, with little things like a salad, something that we don't like in a salad or whatever. Like if we don't have these little pieces of practices of being honest, right? Because that's really what honesty is. It's something that we need to practice. It doesn't just come. Like some people, most of my friends, they can be very honest and straight up. So I know that these are truly my friends because they're not holding back. They know that I'm not gonna just shove them to the curb when they say something that I don't like. And so that obviously, maybe not obviously, but it really opens up a relationship that goes beyond just hello, how are you? It goes into a place where we can build something. But obviously that's not every relationship necessarily that we want to be in. So, with those, you might not need to be. And yet I do believe that being honest is the ultimate thing that we can work towards, that really is going to make the difference. So with September coming, summer blues might be here, and though today's still a really, really nice day, can we be honest that we're gonna reminisce on summer? Can we be honest that we don't like winter? That's not my case, but it might be yours. And just to recognize, because the moment that we are acknowledging it, we can move on. Because with the season, for example, unless you're moving to a different place, this is what you're going to get yourself into. That's it, right? So by voicing it And that's something I'm also learning is like by voicing it doesn't mean that we can't cope with it. It doesn't mean that we can work with it. It just means that I want to voice it out loud and bring it back to the situation that I was in, that I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I'm part of this group, Flourish Academy, where it's about perimenopause, menopause, where you're learning all about this. And I had a feeling it had something to do with this, so that's why I don't need to be frankly honest with my son about what it might be going on, because first of all, he has zero interest in this. Second of all, it's none of his business. And third of all, there is just some things that are just TMI, right? So that's part of that. And so with that, I just wanted to say like, yeah, okay, I'm crazy. And so I had this group and I was just messaging them and just letting my thoughts out there just to have it somewhere. And so that's really what honesty is here to do. It allows us to have it being voiced. Allows us to get out of our bodies, and it frees up some space for things that really feel good, for the things that we want to invite into our lives. So honesty is just here to improve our lives, to make our lives more fruitful and more honest, as the topic, and free. And so this is really where honesty is just the absolute number one thing that I feel we as a human beings, as a species, as a community, as a collective, as a country, as whatever, is really the most important piece. So having said that, I hope you're going to reflect on your personal experience with being honest. Are you maybe more honest with certain things and less honest with other things, which I totally understand. So either way your experience, do what you need to do to keep up this honesty. And if that hasn't been in your wheelhouse, find out why. Is it a discomfort that you feel? Is it maybe something you can practice with people that in your life that you know that no matter what, they're not gonna really do anything about it. They're just gonna take it for face value. There she or he is that has to let go of something. So that's really the ultimate thing about today's conversation. Is like, let's be honest. It doesn't need to hurt. And the more we practice, the easier it becomes. And the best part, the more free you will feel. So thank you so much for watching. See you again soon.